Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Kamil Kuzmiak, and in today's episode I'm gonna show you my Sony a6500 cinema rig. Let's get to it. Okay guys, now you're gonna have to brace yourself for some slight drop of quality because Sony a6500 is my main camera. It's the camera I'm using right now to film this video. So if I want to show you my camera setup, I'm gonna have to film the rest of the video with my phone, so let's just do it. Okay guys, so this is my main camera, Sony a6500, and I know it's not the latest and greatest release like the Sony a7S III or Canon EOS R5, but I realized that maybe it's worth it to talk about this camera now in 2020, even though this camera was made in 2016, so it's 4 years old. The reason I think it's still worth to talk about this camera is because maybe it's not the latest and the newest one, but it still can give you a very decent result. Unlike the latest and greatest releases, it doesn't cost £4,000. You can get the used one for around £500. So I realized that for the beginner or somebody that's on the budget and still want to get into the filmmaking, this one is actually a very good option. To be honest, for the price of some new advanced body like Sony a7S III, you can buy this camera, you can buy good lens, the rig setup, you can buy used computer. Basically, you can buy everything you need to make videos for the price of the modern body. So Sony a6500 is capable to shoot 4K, no crop, APS-C sensor. In 1080p you can go up to 120 frames per second, so you can get 5 times slow motion with it. You can also shoot with flat color gammas like S-Log2 or Cine 4. You can get a very nice dynamic range out of this camera. It has a very good low light capabilities as well. You have the IBIS, in-body image stabilization. So as I said before, it's not the latest and the greatest, but if you buy the used one in 2020, it's a great value for money. Alright, so now I'm gonna show you my cinema rig. I say the cinema in quotes because that's definitely not a cinema camera. Cinema cameras are much bigger, way more powerful, way more expensive. Actually, the price of the viewfinder for the cinema camera like Red or Arri, it's much higher than this body with all my other accessories, lenses and computer all together. So calling it a cinema camera, it's a little bit of a joke, but don't get me wrong, you can get a really nice cinematic looking footage from it, but you need to remember it's not a cinema camera. So as the technology moving forward, you can get better and better quality out of these small consumer bodies. The problem with small and lightweight cameras like this one is that it's quite difficult to use them. They are not very handy. They are so light that even with the IBIS, it's difficult to get a steady handheld video. There is also not much to hold on to, and if you attach some heavy lens to it, it's very front heavy then. So rigging up your camera is the great way to give you more convenience when you film. Camera cage gonna help to protect the body as well. Also, one of the benefits of rigging up your camera is that your camera gonna look a little bit more serious. This is a little bit funny because it doesn't matter if you have a big camera or you have a small camera. What matters is the quality of your production, but for some reason you're gonna be more respected when you have a big camera. So if you go to your gig to shoot an event or maybe a music video or something and you show up with the small camera like that, people may think that you are not actually professional because your camera is so small. It doesn't make any sense, but people associate a big heavy camera with the professionalists, and the small lightweight camera give them impression of an amateur photographer. Actually, I have a funny anecdote about that because I was filming an event. It was a bodybuilding competition, and I had a quite big camera with me because it was a Blackmagic production camera, 4K. It was a spider rig with the shoulder pad, big Canon lens with the follow focus and the matte box in front. So the camera looked very big and very serious. I didn't have my press pass because my boss forgot to call them and basically arrange that for me, but I had zero problems with getting backstage and everywhere I wanted to, because if you go around with the very huge camera, people assume that maybe you're from the television and you definitely have a press pass. So sometimes having a very big camera can help you out a lot. but it goes both ways, to be honest, because sometimes it's better to take just a plain camera with the small lens, because sometimes you want to film without attracting any attention. Because the problem with the big cameras, on the other hand, is if you're doing some filming somewhere in the city with the big heavy camera, most definitely they're gonna ask you for the permission every single time. If you go to film in front of some hotel, some casino or whatever, the security guard gonna approach you and ask you, where is your permission? But if you're gonna come with a small camera like that, even if you're shooting for a music video or commercial project, most likely they won't even approach you because you look like a tourist to them. And it happened to me as well. I was shooting a music video in Chinatown in London. The first day I came with my camera with the rig setup and the gimbal and everything. So basically I wanted to use the casino neon sign as the background. So as soon I approached with the camera and with my talent, and I had two guys with me holding the lights as well, because I was using some LED lights to bring some colors into the shot. As soon I started to film, the security guard approached me and he was like, do you have a permission to film here? If not, go away. I will call the police and stuff like that. So what I had to do basically next day, because I have noticed that 20 minutes later there was a guy with the small DSLR camera and he was just taking some pictures with the model and nobody said anything to him. So I realized if I'm gonna come with my camera without all that accessories, nobody gonna pay attention to me. So that's exactly what I did. The next day I came back with just this camera, just the lens and nothing else. And I placed the singer in front of that neon sign and I was able to shoot the entire song twice. So I had around 6-8 minutes of footage. That's all I really wanted. So long story short, sometimes it's worth it to rig up your camera and get a little bit of that street cred. But sometimes it's better to come with the naked camera with just the lens and do not attract any attention, just to get the shot. Okay, so the first and the most important part of my cinema rig is the camera cage. So the camera cage itself is from the Small Rig company. It's a very good company that makes camera cages. I also have the top handle that helps me to get the lower shots. I also have the wooden grip, and some people say it's not necessary. Some people say it's only the aesthetics, but I think it's actually very practical, to be honest, because all the cameras, they have this rubber grip on the side, and over time when you use your camera a lot, this rubber gets broken and damaged. It gives you much bigger grip, so it's very convenient to film. I really recommend you to get the version with the wooden grip, or you can buy the wooden grip separately as well. Another very important thing I have on my camera cage is the battery plate. So basically a battery plate, it's a mount that lets me use different batteries. And the batteries I'm using are the camcorder style Sony batteries, the NPF line batteries, and they hold much more power than the standard Sony batteries. So the small battery that goes inside this camera, it's around 1100 milliamps. And for example, this battery is 7200. So this battery holds 7 times amount of the power of the original battery. And I have two different versions. I have this one, it's a plain one, you need to charger to charge this one. And I have this one, it's a little bit more advanced one. It shows you the battery life indicator here. You can charge it with USB. And as you know from the first episode, I love magnetic cable, so I use magnetic cable for this one as well. It is possible to charge the battery and film at the same time, but I don't recommend, because I've noticed when I was filming a podcast and I was charging the battery at the same time, I had some very strange humming noise on the audio track, so I think that's not very good. And I also have the medium one, and this one actually is 5000 milliamp hours, so it's around 4 times of the original battery. And I use this one with gimbal because it's slightly lighter. I can balance this one on my Ronin S, so this one is my gimbal battery. And also I have the smallest one, so this one holds 2 times more the power of the original battery, and I use this one only for the gimbal if I need to make the camera as light as possible, because if I want to do all the inception shots and all that difficult low angle shots that are very challenging for the gimbal, I need the gimbal to be perfectly balanced, and I can't do it with this one because this one makes my camera a little bit too long. So I don't use this battery very often, to be honest. I use it as a last resort if I really need to make the camera a little bit lighter. And sometimes I also use it to take stills, because as you can see, it's not hitting my head when I'm trying to use the viewfinder, so it's good for taking pictures as well. So the battery plate transfers the power from the plate through this cable. This cable is quite long, so all the excess cable I secured here underneath the handle. It goes straight to the dummy battery. So the dummy battery is like a fake battery with the cable that you can put inside of the camera. Of course, this camera can be powered by the USB as well. So you technically you could use a power bank and power the camera through the USB, but it's not ideal because when you power the camera through the USB, you still need to put the battery inside because it's not actually powering the camera, it's charging the battery. And the power bank isn't capable to charge the battery fast enough, so you get longer battery life, but you're still gonna have to replace this battery every couple hours. And also because you're charging the battery and filming at the same time, so with the USB power bank method, you're gonna get more overheating, you're gonna have to replace the batteries anyways, and it's not ideal. It is so much better to power the camera through the dummy battery. The good thing about this camera cage is that it has 2 points of contact, because some of the camera cages you only attach them with the tripod screw, and because you only attach them with the one screw, sometimes after a couple days you get a little bit of the flex. This screw is getting loose because the camera is moving a little bit to the left and to the right, and every couple days you need to fix that screw again. You have the second point of contact. So with the tiny screw you attach the camera to the strap holder on the right side of the camera. So because the camera is attached to the cage with 2 different screws, the flexing and moving is impossible. Alright, so let me put the camera into the cage and then we can go to the next accessory. The battery door has this little rubber door that lets you put the cable through it. So the cable goes outside with the battery door closed. So now I need to use the small Allen key to fix that little screw I told you about. Remember to make the screw tight, but not too much, because you don't want to break it. Just be reasonable with that. So now the camera is in the cage and it's nice and secure. As you can see, I have some scratches on my camera cage because this cage already saved the life of this camera. When I was filming a music video in Greece, we were filming in front of some abandoned restaurant, and I was going around with the Steadicam. It was before I even had a gimbal, and I didn't notice that on the ground there was some wooden door to go inside of the basement, and when I stand on this wooden door, the wood was so old it broke, so I basically fell into the hole in the ground. So in order to save myself, I have to let go the camera. So the camera on the Steadicam went like this, and it was a very painful and heartbreaking experience, to be honest. I cut my knees a little bit with the concrete when I was falling down, but at this moment I was 100% focused on the camera. I was like, is the camera okay? Is the camera okay? That's the life of the cameraman. Sometimes you worry about the camera more than about yourself. Okay, so let's plug the biggest battery then. Okay, so this is my favorite lens. It's Sigma 18-35 1.8. I will definitely dedicate a separate vlog only to this lens because I want to get into more details of it. Always hold the camera upside down so you don't get any dust on your sensor. I go into the cleaning mode that shakes the sensor just in case if there is any small dust particles on the sensor, so they fall down on the cap. Then I just take the lens cap off and just swap. I'm trying to minimize the amount of time when the sensor is exposed, because with the mirrorless cameras, unlike DSLRs, there is nothing between the sensor and the environment. So the next interesting part of my cinematic camera rig is the RFS. RFS stands for Rapid Filter System, and basically it's a mount that lets you to put the ND filter on your lens. The thing with ND filter is that sometimes we are shooting in the bright daylight and we need to put the ND filter on. Suddenly we need to go inside and take some indoor shots. When we go inside of the building, or maybe underneath the bridge, or maybe under some trees, suddenly we are not getting enough lights, so then we are turning the filter to get the minimal density, and still we are not getting enough light. And with the high ISO you're gonna lose some quality, So that's why I love the rapid filter system, because then if I go inside of the building or I go in the shadows, all I need to do is open the filter like this, and I can let more light into the lens. And it's actually a true game changer for me, because countless times I was in this situation that I was filming in the daylight and it was very sunny, and suddenly I need to go inside of the building or maybe underneath the bridge, or sometimes the cloud suddenly blocked the sun and I lost couple stops of exposure, and you never have enough time to unscrew the filters, put it into the box, because you can't just unscrew the filter and just throw it into your pocket. So you need to always like put your camera down, unscrew the filter, put the filter into the box, and then put it into your pocket. It takes you 3 minutes to do it, and suddenly the cloud is gone, you have the sunlight again, and you need to do it all over again. So trust me, rapid filter system, that's a massive game changer. I love to use Sigma 18-35 because it has a nice range. On the 18 you can get a nice wide angle landscape or something. On 35mm you can get a decent portrait as well. There is a very short focusing distance, so on the 35mm you can get a very nice macro shots. So if you take this lens to the event or maybe a music video or something and you need to work under a pressure of time, you don't have time to change lenses, this one it's a lifesaver, to be honest. So if there is like a doomsday scenario, some apocalypse going on, I would have to leave the house with my camera, I'm grabbing this lens and nothing else. So we have the camera cage with the top handle and the side grip. We have the battery plate, we have the rapid filter system. What's next? The next thing is the external monitor. One of the downsides of this camera is that you don't have flip out screen. You can articulate the screen only up and down, but you can't flip the screen out. So if you want to film yourself, you need to have the external HDMI monitor. Another thing is, with the external monitor, it's easier to frame your shots, especially if you are getting some low shots or some weird different angle. You can always adjust the monitor. You have the focus peaking as well. It's so much easier to nail the focus with the focus peaking in the monitor. So this is my monitor from Viltrox. It's Viltrox Dc-50. It's actually a 5-inch monitor. Many people use 7-inch monitors. I prefer 5-inch because I think for the size of this camera, it's the best proportion. It's not too big, not too small. So the monitor is also equipped with the sun cover. So basically, you have this extra bit here. If you film in the direct sunlight, you just open it like this. And then the sun is not blocking your view. You can easily film with the cover on. So that's actually very cool that for the price of around £50, you can get a monitor with the sound cover as well. It's not 4K, it's not even full HD. This monitor is 480p. You may think that why do you use 480p monitor if you shoot 4K, if you shoot 1080p? And to be honest with you, it's not razor sharp, but it's sharp enough for me to nail the focus. Considering the price, which is around £50, it's actually a great value for money. So to attach the monitor, I have this mounting adapter, and I use the cold shoe mount in the top handle. So now I'm gonna have to power the monitor. As you can see, you can use the batteries, but also you can use the DC power adapter, and that's actually very cool because my battery plate has the DC power outlet. I've spent quite a lot of time to find a cable which is long enough but not too long, because you don't want very long cable because you're gonna catch it on something and it's gonna be a problem. And I found this short cable. It's made by the company called Stag, and actually this cable is not even for camera. This cable is for some sort of guitar effect. So you use it to power the guitar effect. I'm not sure exactly, but I know it's for the guitar. So I plug one side here and another side here. And now this big battery is powering both the camera and the monitor. That's actually very convenient. So let's just turn the camera on and let's turn the monitor on as well. I will just open the sun cover. There is no image. We need to connect the camera to the monitor as well. I don't use the regular HDMI cable. I use the ribbon HDMI cable, a cable like this. The great benefit of this cable is that it's very lightweight. The problem with the regular HDMI cable is that it's quite heavy, so you need to use the HDMI clamp, which is a special clamp here, to hold the cable in place because there is a risk of damaging the port. Damaging the port in the camera, it's a huge headache because it's gonna be outside of the warranty. You're gonna have to pay probably like 150 pounds. They're gonna take the camera for 6 weeks to fix it for you. So you don't want to damage the camera port. I think the ribbon cables are made mostly for the FPV drones, but I use it on my cinematic rig. So let's plug the HDMI to the camera. I just twist it around the mount so the cable is not in my way. Okay, I don't know if you can see, but we have the image now. Another thing is that this camera, it doesn't have the headphone jack. You have the microphone jack, but you don't have the headphone jack, so there is no way to monitor the audio. But the great thing is that you have the headphone jack in this monitor, so that solves the problem. Now the audio comes through the HDMI cable to the monitor, and then when I plug my headphones to the monitor, I can monitor the audio. So that's a massive help if you need to film an interview or something and you need to make sure that audio is 100% correct. So at the beginning of the video, my camera looked a little bit like a toy, like a camera for a tourist. Now, as you can see, it looks way more serious. If you arrive at the gig with the gear like that, they're gonna take you slightly more seriously. Obviously, it's not about that. The most important thing is the convenience and the ergonomics of it. Because of all the accessories, now the camera is a little bit heavier, which is a plus as well, because it is a little bit easier to take a steady handheld shot now, because that extra weight helps you to keep the camera more stably. Another problem with these small mirrorless cameras is that they tend to overheat. So the camera cage helps a little bit because it is a metal structure that surrounds the camera body. Some of that heat actually spreads to the metal parts of the cage and handle and everything. It's not gonna be a massive difference, but it will definitely give you a couple more minutes of recording because all that metal gonna absorb a little bit of that extra heat. Also, it's way easier to hold. So most of the times I use the lavalier microphone like this one. So I just plug the cable into the camera and that's it. Sometimes if I need my own camera microphone, I use the side handle as well, and I will show you now. This is my microphone of choice, Rode VideoMic Pro. Okay, so this is my side handle, as you can see. There is the tripod mount here. There is a cold shoe to attach the microphone. There is another tripod screw here to attach, I don't know, the LED light or something extra. Okay, so the side handle is secured. As you can see, there is another tripod screw here, so if I wanted to put the camera on the tripod, I still can. And now it's even more convenient to operate the camera because I have this side grip here, another side grip here. I have a nice view in the monitor as well. If I want to go for some lower shot, I grab this handle and I take some lower shot. If I want to hold the camera above my head, I put the monitor like that. And it makes massive difference in the convenience and ergonomics. So I plug the microphone over here. Right, so the microphone goes here, the microphone jack goes here. And now I have my full camera rig. I have the monitor, I have the lens, I have the rapid filter system, I have the top handle, I have side wooden grip, I have the bigger side metal grip or side handle. I have one battery that powers the full set. It powers the monitor in the camera as well. Okay, so this is how it looks like. So there you have it, guys. This is my Sony a6500 cinematic rig. I really hope that this vlog will help you with building your own cinematic rig. If you have any different ideas on how to make cinematic rig, just make sure to leave them in the comments, because I always like to improve something in my camera rig. So if you have any ideas, I'm more than happy to hear them from you. So if you like this rig setup, or at least some parts of it, you can find the full product list in the video description. So feel free to check it out and pick something for yourself. Okay guys, so now I'm going to show you a little montage of some of the shots I made with this camera over the last 4 years to show you some real life tests. So let's do it. Okay guys, that's gonna be it for today's vlog. I hope you found the information useful. And if you had fun, don't forget to leave the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel because there is more content on the way. And if you have any suggestions, just feel free to leave them in the comments. See you in the next one.